I found a connection really, really quick.
Oh, wait. What was it again?
It was Leonardo DiCaprio
Uh-huh.
to Woody Harrelson.
Okay.
And, a big thing is like... excuse me. With the connectthestars.xyz website, a key thing is that their TV shows aren't included. It's strictly movies.
Okay.
Which, I don't know, that does limit stuff. One second. Let me turn that up just a little bit. Okay, so Leonardo DiCaprio is in Wolf of Wall Street with Matthew McConaughey. And Matthew McConaughey is in Ed TV with Woody Harrelson. Boom. One movie connection.
Nice.
Yeah. And we'll people, 2 new people at the end of it, if we fucking remember. We're getting used to our new game. It's been 1 week.
This is Tommy.
Jacob. It's Jacob. I said it.
This is
Tommy and Jacob's mixtape. Can't help but you think you're funny when you're mad. Bare naked ladies are great. Hi, everyone. Welcome back.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's mixtape. I'm Tommy. That's Jacob.
Hope your last week was a blast.
We're a movie review podcast. We talk about movies, who made them,
We'll
who
get
wrote
there.
them, who starred in them, some themes of them, and then we give it a rating. It's very arbitrary, but it's a nice way just to put a end on it. And this week we're doing 1989's Blast from the Past.
Boo.
Before we get into it, did you like it?
Yeah, I love this movie.
Cool. Me too.
I haven't watched it since I was probably maybe even a teenager, really. But this was like one of my comfort food movies when I was a kid. Like, I had a recording of it, and it was like whenever it was on TV, I watched it. And when I was a kid, Alicia Silverstone was one of my biggest crushes.
Never got it.
And she was just like the it 90s girl.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, 90s with a T.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. And in this, though, I just want to say, too, she portrays the 90s Valley girl
So well.
and not in like the caricature kind of way with the like and the, you know, like not that she feels very much like, yeah, that's they pulled her off the street and went, there you go. Which I just thought was funny. This movie had a lot of nostalgia for me, not only growing up and like watching it, but then also them being where they were.
Fernando Valley.
Yeah, just, you know, LA and that scene and everything. I was like, oh yeah, this is
Yeah, because that was kind of your stomping ground, wasn't it?
not really.
But you're familiar with it.
I'm familiar with it, and they went to Venice Beach. You know, that scene.
Yeah.
They went to Venice Beach. You know, and then it's also with the personal, like the whole swing culture bit.
Yeah,
You know, it was just like a lot,
especially in the 90s. Oh wow, yeah.
It was really,
yeah.
It hits a nostalgia for me really hard. But for those that don't know, A Blast from the Past. Quick little synopsis. A man raised in a fallout shelter is thrust upon Los Angeles in the 1990s, looking for supplies and a wife.
Yeah. This movie is wild.
It is.
In so many ways. And I kind of had this realization.
Oh, and yeah, we didn't do that. We're doing Out of Time.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I actually found a word for that.
What?
Anachronism. Anachronism. Oh, it looks like it's spelled like anachronism.
Okay.
But anachronism. Definition for anachronistic is belonging or appropriate to an earlier period.
Okay. So, yeah.
So, like, this entire block is anachronistic.
Yes. So we're doing movies about people that are from a different time. And not necessarily time travel, but...
Well, one will be.
One. It was hard to do that and not do time travel.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, you know, sci-fi time travel of, like, falling into a well and then waking up.
What is that portal over there? Oh!
I was totally kidding about that, but that's kind of what happened in Warriors of Virtue.
Oh, it still falls into a well?
Yeah, and then he woke up in a different time.
That one's actually, but that one's not anachronistic. Because
Well, you don't know when the where the warriors lie in a timeline.
Yeah, that's why it's not, because it's not clear.
Oh, it has to be clear.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Look at that. You learned anything, you learned a new word that I already forgot. Agonistic?
That's really close to antagonistic.
Yeah, I think that's what's happening. I fucked you up.
No, Anna? Chronistic.
Kendrick.
She's cute. She's a cutie. She would have been great in this movie.
Her new movie was really good. I don't remember if I talked
the
about
serial, the dating show
Yeah,
one,
yeah.
the serial killer. She
cool.
directed that, didn't
Yeah.
she? Yeah.
That was her big debut thingy.
Well, let's officially get into Blast from the Past stuff. It premiered January 27th of 1999, and then didn't have an official release until February 12th.
Well, because that makes sense.
Why?
It's kind of rom-com-y.
So they actually do like a premiere around Valentine's Day. Okay, yeah, I didn't really think about that until you said that. So,
well, because it's like rom-com-y, but it's kind of weird because it's like 50-50. It's like starts off, kind of a will they, won't they, but it's not really rom-com-y because they're just friends, and then it turns.
Well, he is clearly in love with her the entire movie, but he's also like
socially inept.
Not only socially inept, but she sets her boundaries, and he's just like, okay, I accept that. Like, he's such a gentleman. Like, he is a man out of time.
Yeah, he's old school values. Well, it's how he was raised too, because he could have come out there really mad men style.
Bro, yeah.
He could have come out really different.
It's very much clear that the values of the parents are very holistic.
Yeah, holistic and very Christian too.
Oh yeah. I mean, like anybody from late 50s, early 60s.
Yeah,
but in a very wholesome way, not in a never mind. So it was
I was gonna say we never get the opportunity to see that.
The father kind of has a little bit of it seems.
No, but it's like, well, like
anywho, yeah.
Okay.
Moving forward. Movie was not a box office failure, kind of a disappointment. Like, it made its money back. It was number 75. This is Brendan Fraser's year as well. Like,
yeah. He did The Mummy, and that's crazy.
Yeah.
To watch these two movies with the thought that they both came out the same year, and he's howdy, hot doggity, and then he's fucking Rick O'Connell, Daddy Rick.
The guy's got range.
Like, goddamn, like
he deserved that Oscar.
Yeah, this is when he was red hot too.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. Like him and Alicia Silverstone, just iconic 90s. Like iconic icons. 99 movies. Did you count?
40.
Between 50 55. Yeah. And I went back and I was like, I counted it the same as last time, so I'm getting consistent. Well, this movie kind of came and I don't know. I don't want to say came and went, but
I think it did. I think if you know it, you know it. You don't, you don't.
Yes, 100% true with that. But I was expecting there to be a little bit more like history and whatnot. And
I couldn't find jack shit.
Same, not even Wikipedia.
I couldn't find anything.
Literally Wikipedia, as you saw, but for you guys at home, it's like how Wikipedia is like a little bit of a description and then the plot synopsis, cast, and then critical reception, just reviews. And you're just like, oh, no, like reason why it was like so-and-so was writing it because of blah, 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 blah. I think maybe a little bit of like production, like it was like actually filmed a little bit in San Fernando Valley and over here. I don't even think there's even that.
Well, I just was curious. There's not even like a fandom.
Yeah.
Which is the Moviepedia fandom.
Yeah.
Thing. Like they usually do a lot of stuff, and I didn't think about that, but yeah.
So it was directed by Hugh Kelly.
Yeah.
Or Hugh Wilson, sorry.
Hugh Wilson, who unfortunately passed away in 2018, but is known for such things as like Police Academy, First Wives Club, which that's kind of actually probably in my top 10 comedies.
It's been way too long.
That movie's really funny.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
Those three ladies just...
Yeah, it's... Come on, help me out.
You got it.
I'm forgetting...
Keaton?
Yeah, I'm forgetting one. Bette Midler.
Bette Midler.
I was like, God damn it, what's her name? And Goldie Hawn. Yeah.
And it's like, if you haven't seen that, they are all the first wives, and then their husbands have their midlife and divorce them for various reasons, and they all get revenge on them.
Yeah.
It's really funny. And those three ladies are and they're all, wildly different personalities.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a great movie. And the other one I wrote down just because I thought it was funny, Dudley Do-Right.
Yeah,
I had forgotten that existed.
Oh, really?
I forgot they did a Dudley Do-Right
Oh,
movie.
yeah, with Brendan Fraser. Yeah.
And it has a really low rating, which
Yeah.
I think it's one of those the Dudley Do-Right old cartoon. I can't remember who made it now.
It was the same people that did Rocky Bullwinkle.
I can't remember who made it. And George of the Jungle.
Uh-huh.
God, I can't remember. Anyways, but Dudley Do-Right was a Canadian Mountie.
Did they do George of the Jungle as well?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The cartoon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I just find that really funny that Brendan Fraser
is in two of the...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if he has a cameo in Rocky and Bullwinkle. How funny that would be.
Yeah. Well, I love George of the Jungle.
That movie's hilarious.
I don't give a fuck what anyone says. That movie is way funnier than it deserves to be.
And they looked off and
they looked, and then they arrived at Ape Mountain and replied with ah.
Ooh.
Ah. No, AWE. Ooh, that's better.
Yeah.
I, as an adult, have never laughed that hard because that movie's funny. I don't give a shit.
And it's also...
I'll die on. That is a hill I'll die on.
Like, it's... When you think back, like, also, it's Leslie Mann is the...
Yes.
And
Thomas Hayden Christensen. What's his name?
Thomas Hayden Church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And him. He's the dickhead fiance.
Yeah.
No, that movie's really funny. But then that was...
We're really...
Tangent.
Yeah.
Dudley Do-Right was...
we don't even talk about Dudley Do-Right.
I know, but I just want to say what it is. Let me fuck off. It was a Canadian Mountie that did everything wrong. But then it was like a Magoo, right? That was his whole deal.
Yeah, but he did actually save the day. He
Magoo.
bumbled his way through.
And then figured it out.
Yeah.
But I guess what I was saying is that has a really low rating, and I don't know if it's deserved.
It might be just.
I have to watch it again.
Well, it's also fucking Hugh Wilson also was a writer for it as well, just like this. Hugh Wilson is also credited as a writer for Blast of the Past, and also Guarding Test. But and then we have our other our official writer, I guess, or just credited writer is Bill Kelly, who wrote Premonition with Sandra Bullock and Enchanted.
And Disenchanted, the sequel.
They are credited just for characters.
Oh, so okay. I didn't know they made a sequel to Enchanted.
You didn't?
Mm-mm.
I knew about Disenchanted before I knew about Enchanted, so I've never seen either of them, but I thought Disenchanted was just a unique idea.
And my niece really liked Enchanted when she was a kid.
That's fair. I actually kind of want to watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that
it sounds cute.
I think I've heard good things about it.
It's like
it's just not really our,
yeah.
We don't. You know what I could really watch right now? Enchanted. I think we missed it. You know what I mean? The age wise.
That's fair. Yeah.
We just
but you know what? Now I really want to watch Enchanted.
Well, guess what? You're an adult and you can do whatever the fuck you want.
I can eat cookies for dinner.
I do.
Yeah,
sometimes.
You need to fucking eat those cookies for dinner.
I have a lot of cookies.
All right, well, let's get into our starring.
Yes. Starring Daddy Rick O'Connell. He plays Adam. Oh, yeah. Anyway, sorry. Brendan Fraser.
I was like, that took me a second. I was like, who's Rick O'Connell? What? Rick from Walking Dead?
The Mummy. But yes, Brendan Fraser.
Who we talked about in The Mummy, obviously. We
yes.
talked about The Mummy. Who I went to Cornish, or I didn't go to Cornish with him. We both went to Cornish.
Yes, he
separate
was
times.
DP.
What?
Or, I don't know. I wrote down. He's in that new movie Brothers with Peter Dinklage.
Yeah.
But then I wrote down DP. What would DP be short for? I know. No, not that. DP. Dippa. Brendan Fraser. Dippa. Anyways, more recently,
trying really hard not to say
more recently, The Whale.
Are you just gonna try to find it now?
No, I'm not doing that. Crash, The Mummy Returns, the whole Mummy franchise, really, except for when Tom Cruise took it over.
Yeah, that was a car crash.
Oh, Doom Patrol. Ha!
Oh yeah, Doom Patrol, where Riley Shanahan.
Because I always do the most recent ones first, so I was like, okay, so Brothers and then Doom Patrol, or DP, which means it was recent. What the fuck was DP?
Doom Patrol.
Doom Patrol.
And also we have our female lead in this, Alicia Silverstone. Who, again, like, when I say, like, she was, like, one of, like, 90s icons, she just fucking skyrocketed through, like, she did 3 Aerosmith music videos, like, back to back to back. And
now looked at a little problematic, but even at the time, it was a little like, oh, this is kind of weird.
Well, and he even has his daughter in one of them.
Yeah, I was putting that between the lines. Sad stripper
That's
song.
not the one.
I know, but
yeah.
Weren't we like, I don't know, just really recently we were talking about an Aerosmith song and being a sad stripper song.
That was last week.
Yeah.
And then I made the joke about...
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, Clueless, Batman and Robin, like, she's got... her first big movie is called The Crush with Carrie Elwes, where she plays a teenager that, like, has a... like, it's a thriller. She's, like, an underage girl that, like, crushes super hard on the neighbor or something. And, like, she, like, is pretty much ruining his life because of it.
Wait, wasn't she just in another movie that... Well, wait, hold on one second.
I don't think she's done a movie in a minute.
No, I was... That what we...
She became a voice... She's done a lot of voice acting
We were
more than anything.
talking last week. Is this it? Excess baggage? Yeah, funny. It was last week or the week before I was talking about this movie I wanted to watch called Excess Baggage. That's her. It's a bratty teenager fakes her own kidnapping, but accidentally gets kidnapped.
It's like one of her first movies.
Right. It's right after Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
It was her and Benicio del Toro. And Christopher Walken. Weird.
Yeah, that is weird.
But yeah.
But I think it's because the director, or it was the director or writer of, I think it might have been, it was Demolition Man last week. It was Marco Brambilla.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny. Huh. Weird.
It's weird how we always find these connections. It's almost like Hollywood is kind of a small place if you think about it. Who do you got next?
I had Christopher Walken.
Yeah, I got the parents actually,
Yeah.
really, and then I got honorable mentions after that.
So we have Christopher Walken, who plays Calvin, who's Adam's father. Christopher Walken, who we've done once.
Yes, 7 Psychopaths.
Yes.
And he's also in a Batman movie, Batman Returns.
Yes. Interesting. Not really. It's not really that interesting. He was in The Jungle Book. He was King Louis, which is probably one of my favorite casting moves of all time.
Yeah, fair.
Him as King Louis was just real. I was like, is that
his cadence?
Yeah, I was like, is that Christopher Walken? I want to be like you. Just thought it was good.
He's one of those actors that, and I may have brought this up with 7 Psychopaths, or just in general a bunch of times. Who knows? I'm so familiar with him, but I really haven't seen a lot of movies where he's like one of the leading men. I don't think I've seen a lot of his younger career. I think I've seen a lot more of his like later career. Like, this is one of the biggest thing. This 7 Psychopaths maybe. I remember him Hairspray. It's just, he's just like, I know he's just such an iconic actor that a lot of people do impression of that. Like I don't feel like a lot of people have actually seen a lot of Christopher Walken movies of our age.
That's actually kind of an interesting point because it just was kind of doing a quick little 1-2, Mm-hmm. And yeah, like I was like, he's in Pulp Fiction for 2 minutes.
You mean 5-minute monologue, whatever, 10-minute monologue? No.
King of New York.
I haven't seen that.
I remember that one.
That sounds like a Scorsese film.
It's a. I think he's the lead. Is he the lead? Yeah, he's the lead in that. But he plays like a kingpin,
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm like trying to think. I'm like, what actually have I seen where he is the fucking prophecy? I guess.
Yeah, that's really the only one. And I don't think I've ever watched that all the way through.
Suicide King. Oh, he's in Mouse Hunt. I forgot.
Yeah, Mouse Hunt. Yeah, he does a lot of weird bit roles
that are really like
eccentric.
Yeah, but that really because of that really stick in your mind.
Yeah.
Like that's a really Sleepy Hollow. He's the headless horseman. Whoa, what a weird career.
Yeah,
go you. The Joe Dirt. He's an ex-mafia hitman. In the witness protection program. That is really funny. The Rundown. He's a fucking blood diamond mongrel. Envy. Who's he in Envy?
I haven't seen Envy.
Oh. Wedding Crashers. Oh yeah, he's the dad.
Yeah.
Or he's the dad. That's he's really eccentric. This guy
or eccentric dad.
Or eccentric dad.
And like I said, it's like that's like 90s moving forward because he's been acting since the late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah.
And that's when he was probably doing a lot more of his leading man stuff that we just haven't seen.
And more recently, he's the fucking emperor in Dune. He's the dad.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen Dune 2 yet, so.
Yeah, he's the emperor.
Who do you got next?
Florence Pugh's dad.
Oh. I forgot she was in that too.
I got Sissy next.
Yeah, Sissy Spacek.
Mm-hmm.
Who we haven't talked about, but we have talked about what she's most iconic for.
Carrie.
Carrie. She's the original Carrie, even though we did the remake of that, one of the remakes of that, when we realized like there's a lot of remakes of that.
Yeah.
She was also one of her earlier movies is Badlands, which is Terrence Malick film and Martin Sheen. I really want that's a 70s film I think would be kind of fun for us to do.
The Badlands.
Yeah. And I have kind of like a possible like maybe building block for that or just a pair type thing. That could be interesting to do. And then she's also in Four Christmases, which we like.
Yeah, she's the hippy dippy mom, Vince Vaughn's mom.
Yeah. And Hot Rod because we've been watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Andy Samberg.
And I put down The Ring too, just because we both talked about wanting to watch after watching the first
sequel.
one. Yeah, being like, hey, well, they really set it up for a continuation, so might as well just finish the continuation.
Yeah. Out of just a quick question, because I don't know if maybe from watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, if you have started to enjoy Andy Samberg a little bit more, but have you seen any of Andy Samberg's like movies?
I've seen Hot Rod.
Okay. I really want to rewatch Hot Rod.
I think it's stupid.
I wonder if you would still feel that way.
Probably. I mean, it's because it really, I don't know. Maybe
you might still find it stupid, but maybe appreciate the humor a little bit more.
I mean, I don't know, but it's like to me, it's like Step Brothers. It feels like that kind of humor.
Really?
Yeah.
I think those are two completely different styles. They're both improvisational humor.
Blades of Glory.
Okay, yeah. I think you're just kind of grouping all of improvisational humor into one thing.
Well, because I just watched a lot of it, and I think it's stupid.
And the way that it's like the
Balls of Fury.
That's even. Oh, hey, Christopher Walken.
Oh yeah. Funny.
It's like the Will Ferrell, like that side of it. It's like that's the SNL alum thing. I think it's just like your brain is at. I don't know.
It just doesn't want to go there. I don't. A superstar, like I just don't find.
What's funny is like you're mentioning every single Will Ferrell one that you don't like.
Maybe I'm the problem. There's a common denominator. Which is weird because I don't. Never mind. We're not. That's a whole tangent.
Yep.
I don't hate Will Ferrell.
No.
I don't want that to. I don't want him to hear.
He's just not. He's not your cup of tea.
No, not even that. Look at that. I just don't like those movies. Like I love Stranger Than Fiction.
Yeah, you don't like a lot of the humor that he does.
Yeah,
the style of comedy.
Yeah, I now like Elf finally after fighting it for 30 years.
He ate his candy canes and liked it.
Yeah. I was like, all right, I get it now. The children love the books. It's really funny.
Oh, did you? Oh, I forget what he says to Peter Dinklage, but he keeps calling him Elf. Anyway,
call me up one more time, friend.
It seems so condescending when he does it too. But I got quick shout outs. Dave Foley, who plays the gay best friend.
Yeah, that Adam never knows is gay.
Because he just thinks he's happy.
Yeah, which I thought that was a really great end to that joke.
Yeah, right?
That's a really funny way to do that. And that's what I was saying about, like, maybe we don't know about how fundamental his ideals might be because he just never knew that Troy was gay.
Fair, yeah.
He was really happy.
Yeah.
Suddenly, Brendan Fraser's character turns into a really different guy.
I found it kind of interesting for the 90s how, I mean, it's like they got that stereotypical gay best friend, but how it's just like he's mentioned he's gay once and it's...
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, because that's what I think was actually kind of smart about that character because it became such a trope caricature thing that became really offensive, but they kind of saved it right there. They were like, they mentioned he was gay once and then moved on and that was it. And then he just became... Troy and Adam just became friends.
Yeah.
And that was it. And
Their dancing scene with IYMCA and just Brendan Fraser being a goofball is so fucking funny. It's like you walking down the stairs and like falling more in love with him. It's like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
But what else
Yeah,
is he in?
Can he ride around? Can he take a ride around your block?
Skate
Around your block, whatever.
But yeah, Dave is a stand-up comedian.
Well, he kind of had a big pop off in the 90s as well because he got that Disney money. He was the voice of Flick in A Bug's Life.
Yeah.
But
I wonder why he didn't do more voice acting.
I don't know. But I mean,
he's got some.
He's got a pretty decent career, but his big thing is Kids in the Hall.
Yeah.
Like he's one of the founders of that. And if you haven't seen Kids in the Hall, it's sketch comedy in lieu of kind of like its American versions of like not I should say version, but like Monty Python and Flying Circus. It's not like live bit like SNL, but more sketch comedy, just flat out sketch comedy. You know, our generation's is probably more like Whitest Kids You Know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just waiting for a reaction from you, and you're just not giving me anything. But that's all I really wrote down for him.
Yeah, I was just doing a quick little overview, but that's
And,
Monkey Bone with Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, look at that.
I forgot about Monkey Bone.
That's
Did we
a wild
do Monkey
movie.
Bone?
No, we have not.
We've talked about doing a Monkey Bone, right?
We've probably talked about it a couple of times because of Brendan Fraser.
And the whole melding of the real life and
Animated, maybe.
animated thing. Yeah. It's a wild movie.
And then I got Nathan Fillion.
Yeah, which I had forgotten that he was, what's his name?
Cliff.
Mm-hmm. It's weird because it was like
the asshole ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, like I remembered Cliff as a character, but had just never registered that it was
Nathan Fillion.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I just got a really quick shout out for Joey Slotnick, who is the cafe son / owner.
Oh yeah.
What is it? Don't touch my elevator.
Soda jerk.
Soda jerk.
That's what he's credited.
Really?
As, yeah. He's soda jerk.
Don't touch my elevator. Is that the?
That was a great way of doing that too, showing the time passing all from the guys at that soda shop.
Yeah,
that was I thought that was pretty clever. Yeah, I think that's everyone.
Stay away from my elevator.
Leave my elevator alone.
There it is. Thank you. Leave my elevator alone.
Who's got the tambourine?
You got something on your forehead.
I know.
You ready for reviews?
Yeah.
All right. So on IMDb, this has got a 6.7, very fittingly, I believe. And then a little bit of a drop off on Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes has got a 58 tomato meter rating and a 57 popcorn meter rating. So it's kind of like same-ish. Same.
Yeah.
Through audience and critic. And Metacritic says...
Metacritic is... I'm just like, that person looks familiar. I'm just thinking about them in the movie.
Who?
Huh, interesting. So Metacritic has an overall 50, which comes to mixed or averaged, with 7 positive, 9 mixed, and 3 negative.
Okay.
Roger Ebert actually liked this movie.
As he should.
Roger Ebert gave it a 75 at the Chicago Sun-Times. The movie is funny and entertaining in all the usual ways, yes. But I was grateful that it tried for more, that it was actually about something, that it had an original premise, that it used satire and irony, and had sly undercurrents. That's what he said.
So really about something? That was one thing. I didn't really like... I had a hard time finding theme, I guess, for this, which isn't inherently bad or bad in, at all for just what this movie is. Other than just like man out of time type, stuff.
Yeah, like what is the point? Like, in a capitalistic way, I guess. I'm not sure what I'm trying to say, but it's like, okay, yeah, we know the plot. He needs to go get supplies. That's what it's about. But like underneath that, what is it about?
I don't feel anything underneath, other than maybe just kind of like that loss of wholesomeness that this 50s, I guess would be a better example, that the 50s had loss of, because he's like a true gentleman, and all of that blah and blue.
Well, I mean,
a loss of morals, values, not morals. I don't want to say morals.
Well, it's like if you're going from the Cold War into the 90s, it's weird if you kind of think about the perspective of the parents being adults at that point, because the 60s to the 90s, you're missing a lot. A lot of shit went down in that time period.
35 years of stuff, yeah.
Even like him going upstairs for the dad going upstairs for the first time and everything he interacts with, he's almost kind of like, it's kind of like making him an alien on Earth and interacting with everything. Like, you have the drunk guy puking outside of the bar, and you're kind of like, well, okay. But everything about that just led to me to believe that Calvin just already led a very privileged life because of these things that he wasn't interacting with that he had never seen.
Like Christopher Walken's character?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that wasn't unless you're seeing that in the trenches at war, you're not seeing that in your town in the 1950s.
Well, not in that town, but that is a thing. Homeless people didn't just appear at...
What it wasn't that bad in the 50s.
Oh, I don't know. I wasn't there.
I mean, just from everything that I've read.
It just doesn't seem... Like, well, the point I'm trying to make, though, is that, like, he has this whole, like, he's, this alien on Earth for the first time, and even to the point where the prostitute comes up to him, and when he has that whole interaction with her, and then he goes back down, and he's talking to the wife, and it's, like, this whole, the mutant thing, like, it's so alien to him that these are mutants. They eat out of trash cans and they puke on the streets and they wave guns around and they can change their gender at will.
The way that he's explaining multisexual to her is
really funny.
It's really fun, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, this is literally like an older person today trying to explain their understanding of gender politics.
Well, and that's what makes this movie really funny, because even I was talking to someone about the male woman scene.
Yeah.
And if you know, I'm definitely not going to quote it.
She's also the only black person in this entire film.
No, the doctor at the end.
Oh, okay. Good call.
Well, because she's, God, I'm totally blanking on her name, but she is the shoveler's wife in Mystery Men.
Oh.
The one that's trying to get him to knock
William
it
H.
off.
Macy?
Yeah, William H. Macy's wife.
That's great.
I just recognized her voice.
Yeah.
I was like looking at her and I was like, oh,
like you were saying.
Well, like that whole scene with the male woman and the way that whole interaction goes down. I was talking to someone that we know about that scene, and they were horrified. And I was like, okay, like me telling that scene isn't funny, but watching it is really funny, because he's walking down the street.
There's a true innocence to it.
Because it's also like, I never noticed it too, is the whole build up to it. Mm-hmm. The build up of him seeing the sky for the first time, him seeing a little girl for the first time. And then now he looks over and it's the first black person he's ever seen.
Yeah.
And he has this like moment, and then he says what he says, and she's kind of has this like, what the fuck did you just say?
Excuse me?
And then he goes up and he shakes her hand and is like, it's so nice to meet you. And you're like, he's a man out of time. He has not aged in a way that has now learned that that's not an appropriate thing to say.
Not even just like a man out of time for that, but also just living in a bubble
of the 1960s.
Yeah.
In like the 1950s, 60s.
Of only two other people he's ever seen in his entire life.
Yeah. And it's like that right there really does a great job of building our journey now of this is what and then it becomes kind of the whole movie is just this, all right, set piece to set piece of the things he's going to interact with.
Adult video store. Poison gas!
Yeah.
Visible poison gas!
Well, it's like, that's the other, that's probably one of my favorite moments is when Calvin, the dad, walks into the porn store and it just goes quiet for like a solid 10 seconds.
Wow! Yeah. Chris Rock goes, wow!
It's like he turned into R2-D2 screaming out,
yeah.
Anyways, I lost let's just go back to this and then we'll go back to that.
Yeah. I mean, all you read was Roger Ebert so far.
Mixed with a 60 is Rita Kempley at the Washington Post. Like I thought this was an interesting comparison. Like last winter's Pleasantville, this movie juxtaposes classic virtues against modern mores. The former did so with more innovation. Sorry.
Yeah.
Innovation.
Fair. Yeah. Okay. Sure. You're not wrong, but also like Pleasantville. Yeah, Pleasantville. My brain went to Smallville when I said Pleasantville, so I thought I said Pleasantville. Very much drama, trying to make that commentary very apparent.
Well, that's the thing, though. It's like, so if you actually do put these two side by side of like the 90s specifically,
90s going back to the 60s versus the 60s
coming into the 90s. If you put them next to each other, it's actually a really interesting comparison because they are so similar in a lot of their DNA. But it's like Pleasantville's a great movie. Visually, it's wonderful. I really think it's a great movie.
That's actually one of my top 10 that I always forget about.
But it's very heavy-handed in all of its themes. And so it's all like, again, it's a great comparison because it's the polar opposite of what Blast from the Past is.
Yeah. Because
it's like, this is what we're saying. This is what we mean. Watch it, and
look at their life become colorful.
Yeah, and it's like Blast from the Past is really just a comedy. There isn't really that much, and I just thought the Pleasantville thing was an interesting comparison.
It really is
because
I would have never in my life.
And then the negative with 30 at LA Wiki.
Well,
but
hold on a second. It's just because it's really funny is that they make that comparison because I immediately kind of like halfway through this movie was like, this is just Encino Man, but he has education.
Oh yeah, Encino Man, Brendan Fraser.
Yeah. It's like, because Encino Man, as Link, he's like he's discovering everything for the first time, but this is Link just having an education and discovering the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Both a man at a time type thing.
A man at a time, yeah.
Yeah.
Because, he's a caveman, right? God, I haven't watched that in a long time.
Oh, I rewatched it recently.
Is it still good?
Yes.
But. Yes, but.
It definitely has aged.
And.
And, like, its agedness isn't, like, it's, like, un-PC-ness or anything like that. I don't feel like that's the problem. Its pacing is kind of, like, wah. Well, the ridiculousness is a little bit more.
Well, I know I'm going to jump back, but I'm thinking now, I was just kind of, because the conversation I was having about that whole male woman scene, I'm now curious if someone who is Black, African-American, what like their thought is on that scene. Because the person I was talking to was white.
Yeah.
And I was like, uh-oh. I spurred something in you, you know what I mean? But it's like
their guilt's coming out.
Yeah, their guilt coming out, and I was just like, it's like I don't know. I'm like now curious. I have a friend that I think likes this movie. I'm gonna ask him. Hey, remember that scene in Blast from the Past? What are your thoughts on it?
Just out of nowhere.
Yeah,
I haven't talked to you in a couple of years, but by the way,
I haven't talked to you like a year, but I'm really curious what your thoughts are about that.
What's the next review?
30 at the AV Club by Keith Phipps. The last 20 minutes of Blast from the Past, in which the film actually does something with its central concept, aren't that bad.
Yeah.
So that which I thought was funny because I put that one down because I'm the exact opposite. I like the whole build. I like that.
There's an interesting timeline-ish of this movie because this movie's almost 2 hours actually.
I thought the pacing was good though for as long as it is.
Yeah, we'll get there. I thought do you have more?
No.
Oh, well then we're there.
Yeah.
I looked down just waiting for you to talk. I have a better time when I just like zone in and just listen to you as opposed to look around and then I get distracted. Anywho, yeah, no, the pacing for this is really, I think it's fine. There is a bit of the middle of it that it feels like it lulls, but it pulls you back in really quick. Because
what are you speaking of specifically? Like what's going on in this?
What pulls you back in is the swing, is the dance club era moment, but like it starts to lull around the roller skating. There's just like there's like a part of it it feels like it's losing you a little bit, and then it pulls you back in. When Eve is starting to have her like conflict of like I don't like him, but I
don't want him giving attention to other girls.
Yeah.
The 90s and swing, man.
But because it's the first half hour of this film, it takes almost 30 minutes more than 30 minutes for Brendan Fraser's character to even get to the surface and for our love story essentially to begin. And Alicia Silverstone to even get introduced. I think she's introduced at the 40-minute mark, which means she's only in this movie for an hour and like 15 minutes ish, you know? So this movie, it really establishes and sets up this whole fallout shelter with Christopher Walken with the Webbers. Christopher Walken. What's his dad? Calvin.
Calvin, yeah.
Yeah. And Sissy Spacek. Do you remember her name?
Helen.
Calvin, Helen, and Adam. And it feels like, if you've never seen any promo for this, it feels like this movie is going to be about Helen and Calvin
and Hobbs. Calvin and Helen.
Yeah. It feels like it's going to be more about them and Adam-ish, but then he has to go save the day and get all the supplies for them. And then it's like, you need this half hour of setting all of this up for Adam's character to be believable. But it seems like it doesn't feel like a long time, but it's weird that it's like literally, I paused it. It's like 33 minutes when he's at bedside with his dad about getting ready to go up and, to the surface.
Yeah. But I mean, that's also when they did that. The soda shop evolution through the decades.
They did that through the entire time. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm just saying that's why the pacing is good. Is because you're getting a lot of information on what's going on both on the surface and underneath the ground, but in a really in a paced way that it's not overdoing it, but you're getting a lot of story
building.
You're
seeing the change of times above ground while they're staying stagnant in their time.
Well, they are, but Adam is not, because he's a child growing up. So you see him learning German, and you see him dancing, and you see him.
It's stagnant in their time period. Is what I mean.
Yeah. But I think that's why that's also interesting, because you have the juxtaposition of the dad is he thrives underground, and he's doing great, and
because he's a maniac,
and teaching Adam all these things, and watching him grow up, and then Helen is cooking sherry out of a cough syrup bottle. You know what I mean? Like, she's
all of our friends.
Well, did you notice
to a crisp?
Did you notice the makeup change too? When they get her at the end, when they get her into the house above ground.
The mom?
Yeah. Mm-mm. Oh yeah. They just. It was really clever. They had her looking a certain way underground, and then when she's out, and they changed her whole demeanor and look, and her hair and her makeup, and made her pop again,
more.
Yeah,
because she wanted to be.
Yeah. And then they kind of did the same with Christopher Walken. He looks a little more drabby, and because he does better he's a mole, and she's a flower.
There at the birthday scene where Christopher Walken, Calvin's like, in some ways I'm gonna miss this place. What about you, honey?
She just goes and screams.
And she just excuses herself.
I liked the running joke a lot of the not understanding baseball.
Oh my God. Just him not understanding things. But why?
Well, no, baseball specifically, because also the fact of then when he gets to the surface and he's selling these incredibly rare baseball cards. But by the way, they're throwing around on the ground and constantly. But as Troy or even, her, wouldn't you Eve, wouldn't you sit there at a certain point and be like, why do you have these baseball cards if you do not understand baseball? How did you didn't...
He's so weird already that it's just kind of I think that would be the last kind of. Well, you probably think about it, I don't think that's worth our time.
Well, I thought of an easy way to fix that argument too. When they're sitting there at the birthday thing and you hear them in the other room, and it's a force. He must do it. And it's why? That the other day just whip around and be like, Adam, it's a fucking game. If you want to play the game, this is what you do, and then leave it at that. There is no why.
Dad? Why?
There is no why. Do you want to play the game?
I just don't get it.
Okay, then you're not going to play the game.
You just have to see it to get it.
I liked that a lot.
Well, but that's kind of a big thing of this movie is the ridiculousness of it. Even as the ridiculousness of this, even in the 50s, this genius, maniac, father, wonderful man, whatever, building this fallout shelter under his house in the valley, or not the valley.
It's not that crazy.
Is it?
Not really.
It's pretty fucking crazy.
It's not really.
Okay, the ridiculousness is the amount of supplies.
Oh, yeah, the Batman-esqueness of it. The scale of it, sure.
The scale of it is what I'm saying. Actually, I built a fallout shelter? No, that's not crazy.
But I would be very comfortable betting a pretty good amount of money that there are those out there.
Oh, yeah. Well, not to that scale.
Yeah, I would say there are. Because even they not cleverly.
Not a regular thing.
But they put it in there how he did that.
I think I missed that.
Oh yeah, Brendan Fraser explains it when he's telling the whole story to Eve, how he made it the scale he did, basically.
I think I missed that.
Yeah, he did it all himself, and then he hired contractors that were always from out of state.
Oh, yeah.
And never had them complete a full job. They always just did a portion of it. So it was this very long process, that he was working on
through the entire Cold War of the 50s.
Yeah.
And
hey, the Red Scare was real.
It's very true. Yeah, I do like the little just like
bad communism.
At the beginning, it's kind of like the way that these characters are established is through like gossip at their dinner party.
Well, okay, actually, I've been meaning to say this for a while, and I think this is actually the great segue to go on what you're saying.
Okay.
I think the dialogue for this movie was very well written.
I agree, yes.
Because of the fact that they're able to give you a lot of information, but it doesn't feel... And that obviously goes into the way it's shot as well, because how they're going to show you that information. But the way this movie, the dialogue is written is that it's very much able to spoon feed you. No, it is. It's here's the plane.
Yeah.
And you're so distracted. Oh, so you're getting a lot of this stuff and it doesn't feel like they're feeding it to you.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is what you're doing as a filmmaker is you're tricking us.
Yeah.
And you're doing a great job of just kind of tricking us into...
It's like another movie that does a really good job with this is What Women Want. At the very beginning, as like all the women talking about Mel Gibson's character.
Yeah, I mean that's true. That the dialogue for that, like the interactions between people, and that's what it is too. There is and that's what is like the hard thing to do.
It's an easy trope thing to do in a movie,
but it's also really. I think it's really hard to make the conversations feel natural and like they're just happening. Like we always talk about Quentin Tarantino being able to do that with the most ridiculous things ever.
Yeah,
but like this is more of a grounded way to write it to really fluidity to it,
Yeah, because like while this dinner party is happening that they're hosting, the Webbers are hosting because they are like the everybody wants to be at their party type thing. They're talking about Calvin. It's like, yeah, well, he was this teacher at a university, so he's a genius, but he's crazy. Don't bring up the commies around him type thing. Don't bring up the Cuban crisis and all that stuff. But he invented a bunch of stuff and became rich, so he retired from teaching. Just like these little things, like it's like how he has the money to do this, why he's so intelligent, and all of these things all set up to even like to his eccentricness as well, of like the very end where when Adam's kind of like, the Cold War's over, it ended, and he's like, the communists just kind of like, well, we're done. Raised our hands. Yeah. They probably even asked help from the West. I think they did. And then he doesn't believe it, and he starts walking the measuring to build another fallout shelter type thing. Like you see that, like it's an interesting thing that I think Adam sees a side of his father he never saw, which was his father's craziness of refusing to believe that they're ever going to be safe. Well,
I mean, he's not wrong. I just rewatched. This is kind of fits in, but I just rewatched the first episode of Fallout the other day.
Oh yeah,
and that beginning scene when the bombs are falling is truly something beautifully horrifying about just the scale of this destruction. And that scene where she's like, "Your thumb or mine," and he turns around, you see the one, and then the entire landscape gets covered in them.
Yeah,
it's pretty fucking terrifying. I was like, all right, well, forgot about that.
Well, speaking of that, how did they get into this fallout shelter? The airplane. Sorry, I was trying to.
Oh,
like we were talking. We're talking more like about ideas of the movie and around it. Like, let's really like flush out.
So he brings them down to the fallout shelter because there's this whole Kennedy is addressing and.
He's talking about the Cuban Missile Crisis.
And he just gets in his head that something might happen today. All whilst we're getting this information.
So he cancels his dinner party.
A plane is flying overhead that malfunctions and crashes into their house.
Yeah.
And which then them in the fallout shelter hear the explosion, feel the vibrations, and then obviously they think
their entrance cave in. Yeah.
Yeah, they obviously think the bombs have dropped. So they seal up that bitch for 35 years. 35 years. And that's what's funny
because that's how long radiation would take.
That's what's funny about this whole movie too, is that it's really easy to take a lot of these concepts, I think, and go down the dark path. You could talk about the mental issues that would be caused by being underground with one other person,
which they kind of bring up. In a goofy way.
That's the point I'm getting to.
Yeah.
The 35 years thing, you know, then you even have his really religious background, which could lead to a whole bunch of issues, you know, suddenly he doesn't like Troy no more, you know, so on and so forth. But I like that it keeps all that negativity out.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
it's very wholesome.
it's very sealed in this, like, it'd be really easy to turn this into a fucking horror movie.
Yeah.
Which it kind of does when he starts talking about taking her underground.
Yeah.
But that's also really funny.
That's also a wonderfully shot and executed scene because of him. Like, he starts telling Eve the truth, and even the music starts to go.
Yeah.
Like Eve's world is turning upside down because
It's a good way of showing that she then thinks that this man is clearly mentally ill,
yeah,
and all of these eccentricities that he's had are now making a lot more sense. It's like,
yeah, it's like she's slowly processing it, but still calls the loony bin.
Yeah, because she doesn't believe it until he has his heartfelt moment in that scene. And then she kind of sees that, like,
he's like, I just want to go home. Can I just go
I'll
home?
leave you
I'll
alone.
leave you alone.
Yeah, and then she realizes, he kind of turns into a child again.
Yeah.
Like, I want my mommy kind of vibe.
And that's kind of like an interesting. It's like, because I was thinking about character arcs in this movie, and Eve does have hers of just like succumbing. I shouldn't say succumbing, but
go eat your grand.
Puts the lotion on the skin.
You my taters.
Her giving into Adam pretty much. Eve as a character, Alicia Silverstone does a great job playing or like being Eve, but as a character, she's very 1-2 dimensional. She's not very complex. Her whole thing is to fall in love with Adam pretty much, you know? And then Adams is kind of like, and I think it's Dave Foley's character when he's like, it tells him, he's like, you're a really nice boy. What Eve needs is a really nice man.
Adam processed that really quick.
Yeah, he did.
I thought that was kind of weird.
It's a very much like it's an on and off type thing, and it's like a moment right there is like that's kind of in a big way, other than like finishing his job for his parents, you know. But that's kind of his arc, is to find his like groundness as a man up there, you know. And and then very quickly he's like, sit down. I know more about first aid than you do about my baseball cards or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And then, well, these pants are probably ruined, right? Okay. Rip. No, yeah. He immediately gets very suave, very fast.
All in all, this movie definitely won some points with me because I just felt like a lot of the dialogue was, a lot of it was on the nose, tongue in cheek, but there was also, it felt, even with that element to it, I was just impressed with it.
Yeah.
Even with these characters, because even Troy is the gay best friend, but we still hadn't gotten to that point where, or at least not to that point, it was definitely happening, but he was still more interesting than just a caricature.
Yeah.
Like that entire scene when he comes back from the club and he's like totally fucking with her about who Adam left with.
Oh, yeah.
And he's saying all these things that he learned about him.
Yeah.
And
did you know?
It doesn't really, it doesn't give him a full dimension, but it adds a little bit to be like, it's this really genuine moment where he's just talking about like, being alone with him at this party, basically at this bar. I just learned more about him. And, he kind of sees Adam in a different light as being this big goofy kid. He's like, he is just a really nice, genuine guy. Like all this stuff that, that a lot of people could see as being phony. It's not. He really believes it,
Well, there's probably also a sense of that, it's like how quickly Adam just like doesn't care about the gayness, which he may not experience a lot in the 90s. So he's like, this is actually a good friend I can have.
Well, that's a great... He's gay. Well, good for you. Will we try? Yeah,
that's right. Will we try?
It's just funny. And he was funny, and that's why I like he was the funny... Yeah, granted, he was the side... a side character, but I thought he brought a lot of
he's
levity.
also kind of like, he's the guide for Eve's life, love life type thing as well.
Yeah,
you know?
he's the best friend,
Yeah.
but it was also like a way of being able to.
Well, and he wants to keep Adam around because he can tell that Eve likes Adam.
Well, there's also a way of like then he can take Adam to go clothes shopping and kind of get him more up to date threads with the jacket and a lot of brown.
From
when they both showed up from shopping, they're both wearing head to toe a very dark brown. I forgot about that with the 90s, or also like the black suit with the black shirt and the black tie, and I was like,
yeah,
it was a very colorful era, except for your formal clothes. A lot of your formal clothes were really just
because it looks sleek.
I've never liked that
Very
look.
slimming.
It's like John Wick. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, doesn't he look so cool in all his black?
Black on black on black. Well, even that whole swing scene, like that's funny you mentioned that because that really does. It's a good observation because that really does bring you back in because you have that really great dance scene because everyone in the fucking 90s was into swing. I was actually when we were setting up, I was reading about that. Apparently, a lot of a tribute to that happening was 1993's Swing Kids.
Not familiar.
Oh, it's a period drama set in the 40s about swing basically. Okay. And so that movie came out in 93, which makes sense. And then after that, The Mask, there was just kind of the people were putting swing just into popular culture again, and then people just naturally,
it was that rotation thing.
Yeah, people just rediscovered it, and then that was a lot of people just got into it again.
Kind of like how emos kind of made new
metal. Everything makes this, and that was swing's kind of resurface again. I mean, swing dancing is fucking cool.
Oh yeah,
the music's
very impressive.
It's really cool. Did
your sister ever teach you any little moves or anything?
Remember
when you were a kid?
I don't remember. No, I remember just going to her things and seeing her stuff online and stuff, and it's really fucking hard.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Just you're like, all right, and throw me around.
I had a couple of crash courses at Cornish, and it was
no, it's crazy.
And one of the times when I realized I'm a very stiff person.
Yeah, well, it's real. Well, it's weird. It's really you following, because there are, every every style has dances, certain ones that you learn and stuff, and it's it's really rigid. You do this, and this, while also being really fluey, and you got to really be able to. As the guy too, well, both as a woman, if you're doing a male female kind of the duo, it's the man is a lot of the pick up, lift around. You got to spin them, but then the woman has to be very flexible, and control the momentum. And it's just crazy. It's a crazy dance, man. Mm-hmm. It's wild to watch it, especially when someone can really do it well. It's cool.
I keep looking down. I just can pull my notes up here and look at this.
I mean, what are we at?
Almost an hour.
Well, any final thoughts? Anything you wanted to bring up?
I feel like I kind of brought up all the stuff I was looking at, I think the biggest thing was, the thing that really pulls you back in that swing dance thing is really Eve's character. It's kind of annoying how she's refusing to like him until she finally does, and you're kind of to get to see a little bit of that, but...
Well, I think it's annoying, but it's kind of the point, too, because it's she's kind of scared of genuine feeling. Yeah. But then she does, the thing that a lot of people do when they're in that kind of position. Even then, Adam's finally trying to have this heart-to-heart with her and really explain to her what's been going on. And then Cliff walks up, and then out of spite, really, she agrees to go have a drink with him. And you're what did he do? He's been making passes, and you rejected him, and he respectfully goes, okay. And then you point out a girl to him, and he goes talks to the girl. And now you're angry at him for talking to the girl that you point out to him to talk to?
Sounds like a woman to me.
But I think it's supposed to be irritating, and it works. It is really irritating. That's a great fight scene, too, by the way.
Yeah, it totally is.
Well, that's actually a perfect example of what I'm saying, because even then, she gets angry at him. And you're like, It's Cliff. This all is Cliff's fault.
Yeah, but he's the one actually hitting Cliff.
Yeah, because Cliff sucks.
Yeah, that's actually
even his what he keeps.
I don't think what you want.
He keeps coming.
I agree. We shouldn't do this here.
Yeah.
He keeps. I can't stop it.
He's doing it.
It's a reflex. Yeah. If you try to punch me, I'm gonna hit you back. But I also really like how it shows a lot of Cliff's character in just one little moment of just like how he is, or an asshole he is when he shows up at the table to talk to Eve and Adam stands up as a gentleman to be polite and shake his hand. Hello, sir. Can you please, like, leave us alone? And Cliff just kind of like, yeah, and then slides in and sits in Adam's spot. And Adam's like, that was my seat. And then Cliff's just like, come get a drink with me at the bar. Just like, what an asshole to just be like, yeah.
Well, in all honesty, Eve too.
Yeah. To let it happen.
Well, it's like, this guy, he's your ex and everything. Be like, no.
Fucking sit down.
Don't sit down. I'm talking to him. Like, she could have,
But she does establish at the very beginning when you first meet him that she still has feelings for him.
Yeah, because she's shallow and to her own testament, she's shallow, likes hair, butt, and boobs. I mean, hair, butt, and legs.
Yeah.
Hair, butt, and legs. Yeah.
Can you tell me why he's wearing another man's underwear?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what we kind of mean, like, again, about the dialogue. He's like, hey, Eve, I have a question. And then she does her whole spiel about still being, we dated for 6 months. We lived together. Now he does. And I still have a thing for you. Does that answer your questions? He's like, well, no. I was just curious why Cliff wears another man's underwear.
Yeah.
Because he's wearing Calvin Klein's.
No, Ralph Lauren's.
Ralph Lauren's. Yeah. And it's just Calvin Klein's.
Back to the Future.
Yeah. And it's just...
that's funny.
Like that. That's just a really... little beat to throw in there, and it's not laugh track funny, but it's funny.
Okay, so I kind of wrap this all up. I think the biggest thing that really sells this movie is Brendan Fraser's charming aloofness.
He's very charming.
Yeah,
and even I just think that Brendan Fraser just has that, because even if you look at The Mummy or even The Mummy, it's like he's a different character, but Rick is still very charming.
Yes,
mm-hmm. In the swashbuckler,
swashbuckler,
the swashbuckler way, and then this is very charming in a homeschooled kind of way. It's not a jab. He was homeschooled.
Yeah, I know.
Just worked two ways. But yeah, he's very charming and endearing,
very polite.
Yeah,
that's the thing is like Rick O'Connell's kind of rude but charming.
Yeah, swashbuckler.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the pirate,
and then the gentleman. It's just if you want to keep with the nautical theme, the Lord and the pirate,
and then also Alicia Silverstone's their chemistry is really great because you really have this like will they won't they ish, because like one of my favorite moments is when they pull up the second time they pull up to the hotel or the Holiday Inn, and he's just kind of like staring. She's like, "Stop staring at me." Sorry. It's like it's the charmingness and the goofiness and the aloofness that Brendan Fraser has. That's very innocent and just very much quickly. Someone tells him he's doing something wrong. He's like, "I apologize. I'll stop that now."
It's like he's in the hotel. After that, he's in the hotel and he picks up the phone and
he's like holding.
Yeah, and he's holding.
Hello.
The bellhop is like,
"Oh, dial 9.
Dial 9 to get out." And he's like, "Get out of what?"
Out of what?
The hotel. And he just, oh, and it's like that. Like that's a really funny dialogue to have. And again, it's not laugh track ha funny, but it's really funny because Brendan Fraser just sitting there and you can tell he like at that point in our journey,
he wants to ask questions, but
he's just kind of accepting everything.
Yeah.
He just is kind of going with it, just kind of like there's gonna be a lot of stuff I don't understand, and I just kind of need to.
I'll figure it out later.
I'll figure it out, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Watching the commercial of the girls in the beginning.
I watched with my mom, and she and I both love this movie, but I just out loud was like, he's gonna have a heart attack. Like going from what he did and like this is like almost like his sexual awakening.
Yeah,
is this woman just seductively putting oil on? He's like nosebleed. He's gonna pass out. He's gonna pass out. It really made me wonder. I was like, I kind of think something like that. Maybe it's out there and I'm just not thinking of it. But it's like, that'd be kind of interesting. This is something that you could redo.
Yeah.
So now from
any man at a time type thing. Yeah.
Well, like now from the 80s to now, like I was just like, I wonder if you could. It obviously has a very big different implication because of the 50s to the 90s and just what was happening. a lot of growth, or
Yeah.
a lot of growing pains as a country. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
And it's still happening, obviously. You know, there are still things that need to be
There always
changed.
will be.
There always will be. But I just feel like that was a lot of stuff in a pretty short amount of time. And I only was thinking that, too, because I was talking to my mom, and she was like, you know, alive and there for that.
Yeah.
And she was like, it was yeah, it was crazy. Like, that period of time, like, living through all that.
Like mid to late 60s through the
70s and the 80s and the 90s. And she was like, yeah, there was a lot of stuff.
Technology was just changing everything.
Everything was just changing, well, really quickly, like very quickly. But I don't know. It was a really fun rewatch. It's still really cute.
It definitely has.
It has a nice ending.
Yes, it definitely lives in a pocket of the 90s. It's a very 90s movie.
That's the thing is it won't stay around forever because you have two really distinct generations that are represented in it. You have the 50s, 60s, the parents, so our parents and, you know, that age.
And both represented in a very holistic sense.
Yes, and then you have the 90s era, and it's just kind of like at a certain point, I think the gap will become too big where it's just not the movies... The references aren't going to make any sense anymore because it'll be too far gone.
I mean, even now, it's all the references are nostalgia references for people
us.
Like yeah.
That's what I'm saying, though. It's
Yeah.
like, you know, so it's like our two generations are getting everything, but once we're not really involved anymore, I don't think the movie's going to...
I mean, there's still like his computer in the house.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, no, it's in the backyard. Yeah, of course it's in the house. Like, what is what, you know, that's still one that would funnily translate to today. But now that'd be like, it's on his phone?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, you know, like that was it Segura joke about, you know, you have more computing power in your pocket than when they put someone on the moon. You know, it's kind of wild. So, and even then too, that's kind of crazy to think about too. From 1999 to now.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
26 years.
Yeah, and it's really not that long in the grand scheme of things.
You've been saying that a lot. Thinking about time? Thinking about your existence?
Yeah, and how I want it to end. No, just it's I don't know. Yeah, maybe I don't know.
Existence is pain.
Future.
I
led the rating last week, so you start off.
3.
What, 3?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
3.5.
What is the 0.5 for?
I just wanted to see your reaction if I said it.
Oh. No, it's you know, I mean, I think again we're doing.
We just give a lot of 3s as well. Sometimes I feel
not really. There's a lot of the time. No. Sometimes I go back and I'm like, oh, we really didn't like that block.
That's fair. That's fair.
You know, well, because 3 is like 3 is like middle. You know, I mean,
It is.
when
It's kind of like your good average.
yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
It's like because also when we review these, we're very much looking at it in the context of what kind of movie is it.
Yeah.
This is a rom-com at the end of the day. I forgot even when we were talking about it, I forgot how much of a rom-com it is because it is really.
I find that funny because like, no, we have 2 rom-coms. You're like, no.
I still
I
still would argue that it is more comedy because I really do feel like it goes 50-50. Like the beginning is about Adam and him being thrust into the modern world, and then
did I bring this up? I can't remember at the beginning. I think I wanted to. Anyway, this almost is like a modern sci-fi.
What, because of the atomic family thing?
Yeah.
Being thrust into the modern age thing?
Yes. And also just the ridiculousness of the fallout shelter.
That is fair because it is because of the bubble it lives in. It is a fantasy. It is a there is not it's not really grounded in a lot of things.
Yes.
A lot of these situations in the real world would have really spiraled out into a really bad place. And that's kind of what we were talking about with it's stuck in the wholesome.
Yes.
I got to stop doing that with that arm.
Fair. Yeah. Because it's and like, but when I say modern sci-fi, because people, when you say sci-fi, a lot of people think, oh, futuristic in space, aliens, woo, woo, woo. And that's not exactly what science
Which
fiction.
we discussed a lot in the Gravity episode.
Yeah. You know. So, but this is a much more of a grounded, and I say modern in a sense of that because it's very much grounded in a reality that we're familiar with, but there's still this sense of, man out of time, like you said, the white picket the nuclear family in the fallout shelter thing.
Yeah.
There is a science fiction elements in this, but it kind of, it becomes more than just that.
Yeah, so I mean, I still stand by. It's like for what this is, it's kind of three things. It's a comedy, it's a rom-com, and then I like the idea of that. In a sense, it is a sci-fi because of the lens the world that we're looking at, But it's like even on IMDb and everything, it just says rom-com, and I'm like, I kind of think it's a little more than that.
IMDb has sci-fi.
Oh, does it?
Mm-hmm.
Get the fuck out of here! You lie. I got way too many tabs open. Romantic comedy, drama, romance, and sci-fi. Drama. That's the thing. As I and this is just me splitting hairs at this point. Calling it a romantic comedy, don't really care for it. But if that was gone, I just said comedy, romance, and sci-fi.
It has all of your elements of a romantic comedy, though.
Okay, that's great. I still don't want that in there. I just think that rom-com just puts an idea. It's like when you watch too many trailers for something. Mm-hmm. I think it just gives you an idea of what it is, and I think it's a little more.
Well, I think that's what makes this movie unique is that it is a romantic comedy, but it's more than your run-of-the-mill romantic comedy.
Yeah, but that's just, I feel like that when you see rom-com, you get your run-of-the-mill one, and I just like the idea of and that's all it is. It's these little bubbles, and it's just the separation helps.
Yeah, this isn't No Strings Attached or Friends with Benefits or Jerry Maguire, but it has those elements.
When's the last time you watched No Strings Attached?
I can't remember. Why?
That one's sad.
Well, yeah, but it's still very much a romantic comedy. No Strings Attached is
Kutcher and Portman.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then Friends with Benefits is Timberlake and
Mia Kunis.
Yeah.
I think I've seen Friends with Benefits more recently than No Strings Attached. But regardless of that, where was I? This movie still has all of those elements of the meet cute, the will they, won't they, she finally agrees, but then there's the conflict that separates them, and then the last ditch effort for one of them to come and find the other one, and they meet in miraculous circumstances to have their moment of kiss and final actual love and the resolution of the film. I mean, that is romantic comedy in a nutshell right there. This movie has every single bit of that, but it also has the sci-fi element and other stuff.
So 3 out of 5?
Yeah.
And then Connect the Stars said Jennifer Aniston and Dev Patel.
Whoa, that's gonna be one. Ah, man, I really don't know a lot of Dev Patel movies though. I also, just so audience knows, listeners, I try to do this without looking at anything from IMDb. I don't use IMDb. Yeah. This is all from my fucking noggin. Until I give up, and then I should actually make an asterisk when I do it if I do use IMDb for it.
Yeah, that you had to use it.
I had to use IMDb. I might have to do it for this before Dev Patel.
What is next week?
I think it's Kate and Leopold.
Oh, so we're just gonna finish with some. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is like Kate and Leopold. Yeah.
All right. So, yes, that was Blast from the Past.
I've never seen it.
No, I haven't watched it since I was a kid. Yeah. But that was episode 224 with Blast from the Past that we gave a 3 out of 5. Please follow us on Instagram and Facebook. On there, all of our promos, and on there, you can take us to our account, to our link tree, and you can find everything. We're on Apple, Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Yeah. We do have video if you're just listening, if that is something that interests you.
YouTube.
Or Spotify, once we figure that out.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. We need to figure that out.
Yeah. But yeah, so join us next week for Kate and Leopold.
Hugh Jackman.
And Meg Ryan.
That's an interesting pair, actually.
I mean, it's kind of Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Oh, have we done Hugh Jackman?
Have we
Or
done
Meg
Meg
Ryan?
Ryan? I don't think either.
I don't think so. Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, join us next week. Like, subscribe, follow, tell your friends. Self-produced podcast, so we make everything. And we'd like to have more followers. That'd be cool. This is Tommy.
This is Jacob.
This is
Tommy and Jacob's mixtape.
Very quiet plea for help.
Oh my lucky stars!
Oh my lucky stars!